You're watching EAC News. Thank you for joining us. Today, July 23rd, 2023, is Cambodia's 7th National Assembly election since the country introduced multi-party elections in 1993. Prime Minister Hun Sen will be one of just under 10 million registered voters expected to participate in today's election. He is returning to his home precinct in Tak Mao with his wife, First Lady Bun Rani, to cast their votes in today's election. His reigning Cambodian People's Party, or CPP, is one of 18 parties on this year's ballot, many of which only had their first National Assembly run in the last election held in 2018. NEC spokesperson Heng Putia said that over the last 3 weeks of the election campaign, 16 of the 18 parties have been campaigning at polling stations with lists of candidates. Noticeably absent from the election is the major opposition Candlelight Party, which was denied running this year based on insufficient paperwork. The party's efforts to protest the NEC's decision was met with a new law being passed earlier this month, which penalizes any person or party that discourages others from voting or encourages them to spoil their ballots. So far, 17 opposition members have been fined under the new law, in addition to having their voting rights and ability to run for office taken away for at least 20 years. Today, Cambodians will vote for a party rather than an individual. The winning party will then fill the 125 seats in the National Assembly, who will then confirm a prime minister. Currently, the CPP holds all 125 seats, in addition to all 58 seats in the Cambodian Senate. National Assembly elections are held every 5 years, while Senate seats are up for election every 6 years. In an interview with Chinese television station Phoenix News on Friday, Prime Minister Hun Sen hinted that his son, General Hun Manet, could be prime minister within the month, depending on the results of the election. He stressed that he would be the one to transfer his power to his successor, and that it would not be for his son's sake, but for the benefit of the nation, the people, and the peace of the country. We now have Anthony Ellis. News reporter Anthony Ellis is on the scene in Tak Mao, where the prime minister will be casting his vote today. He's been speaking with some international observers, and we'll get his take on what's going on. Hi, Anthony. Good morning.
This morning.
Yeah, great. How are you?
Yes. Yeah, good. Thank you. At the moment, at Anuwat Burunami Hun Sen Primary School in Kandal Province. As you can see, people have starting to arrive. We've already done a couple of interviews with some observers here. We had a chance to meet with the Prime Minister of Guinea-Bissau, Prime Minister Nabem, and also Pakistani Senate.
Great. And so you've talked to a couple of the international observers. What are their take on the Cambodian election so far?
So far, they've been walking around. They've gone into the polling booth station, had a look around, and they've seen there's everything seems to be in order. People seem to be happy, and everything's going fine.
Okay, so I see a line of people behind you. How long are the lines today?
The line has just started to begin. It's not very long at the moment. As we know, the polling booths should be opening up any moment now, where people start going inside and vote. Last year with the Songkran elections, which were at the same spot, it did start to get busy between 7:30, and from there onwards. And at the moment, we're just still waiting for the Prime Minister to attend.
Okay, so polls open at 7. Do they go all day? Do people have all day to vote?
No, the polling booths shut down at 3 p.m. this afternoon. So they're open from 7 till 3, where everyone has got a chance. As you know, yesterday the Royal Government also provided 400 free buses to take people all over the provinces of Cambodia for free to be able to vote for this morning. So Christian, now it looks like the Prime Minister has just arrived now. And so we'll just probably cut across and have a look as he comes out of his car and watch him going to vote.
Great. Thank you so much, Anthony. We'll catch up with you. The government's Ministry of Information organized workshops for the observers, and so far everyone has seemed content that Cambodia is hosting a free and fair election. So right now we are watching the Prime Minister arrive with First Lady Bun Rani. That is the Member of Parliament from Pakistan who is here to observe the election. So it looks like his reigning Cambodian People's Party, or CPP, is one of 18 parties on this year's ballot, many of whom only had their first National Assembly run in the last election held in 2018. NEC spokesperson Heng Putia said that over the last 3 weeks of the election campaign, 16 of the 18 parties have been campaigning at polling stations with lists of candidates. So we see people now registering or checking in to vote. They're being given their paper ballots. About 13 million paper ballots have been printed. And now we see the Prime Minister coming up to get his ballot. They'll be looking for his name. In Cambodia, the voter list has the name and photo of the voter. So they'll be looking for that to check off. And there are many international observers there to make sure that this process runs smoothly. So the NEC has printed 13 million paper ballots this year that have been distributed to the provinces, but only just under 10 million registered voters in Cambodia. The Prime Minister is now going to head to the voting booth. This year, the NEC is accepting a variety of markings on the ballot, from a check mark to a plus sign. Basically, anything that doesn't give away the voter's identity will be accepted on the ballot. The Cambodian People's Party is number 18 on the ballot. Out of 18 parties, it'll be the last one listed. I believe the first one is the Beehive Socialist Democrat Party. We see the Prime Minister and his wife now heading to the booths, where they will put whichever symbol they like next to the party if they're choosing. He's heading now to cast his ballot in the secure box. Lots of media outlets, lots of observers there today. The Prime Minister has cast his ballot. He'll now dip his finger in the indelible ink that Cambodians use to prevent double voting, and also to show that they have voted. People will be showing their fingers off this week to show they have voted. So it starts out purple, but as our news reporter Anthony Ellis knows, it will be black by the end. So now First Lady Boon Ray Nee will dip her finger in the ink to show she has voted. And that is the votes for the Prime Minister and his wife, First Lady Boon Ray Nee. The polls today open at 7 a.m. and they will close at 3 p.m. It should give enough time for the 9.7 million registered Cambodians to head to the polls. They've been heavily encouraged this year. You see there, it lists the photo next to the name and the birthday of the people on the voting list. So now the Prime Minister will be awaiting the results of today's election. So we see the Prime Minister and his wife are now leaving. They'll be awaiting the election results for the day. The Cambodian People's Party currently has all 125 seats in the National Assembly, in addition to all seats in the Senate. So we will see how today's election turns out. There are approximately 333 international observers set to observe today's elections to ensure that they are indeed free and fair. Among them is the Prime Minister of Guinea-Bissau. There's a speaker from the Parliament of Malaysia. And today, Anthony has spoken with another member of Parliament from Pakistan. Following the observers' statements, the Prime Minister explained that in the election system in Cambodia, It's held every 5 years. So we've now got Anthony Ellis, who is talking to what appear to be some observers.
Thank you very much for your time this morning, Prime Minister. Please introduce yourself.
Thank you. My name is Nuno Nebian. I'm the Prime Minister of the Republic of Guinea-Bissau. I'm here as observer to the election. And also we would have a chance to talk with the government regarding our bilateral relation between Guinea-Bissau and Cambodia. So we came early to the polling station. This station certainly you're going to be voting the Prime Minister. So we came here early to observe, the procedure. If everything is going as planned, we find out definitely that everybody is in this polling station on time. The polling going to happen at 7 a.m. As planned. We verify the procedures, and everything that we up to this point is going well. So the certification process is done properly in front of everybody. The sealing to make sure that the documents that's going to be out of this polling is going to be authentic. So all the sealing has been shown to the people. So up to this point, I can say all the process is going well. We hope end of the day to have a fair election. We're going to be able to talk to the media by the time the polling will close.
So you've already walked around and had a look at some of the people here. Have you seen anyone trying to encourage not to vote or vote the wrong way or anything like that?
No, that's what I'm saying. I mean, up to this point, we have good feelings because everybody is showing up to the polling in the normal way, very polite way to exercise their right. Because this is the most important issue as a citizen, a Cambodian citizen, to exercise their rights. So all the conditions is prepared. We hope this is going to be like this through the day, where everybody would get the chance definitely to vote. So I'm very happy up to this point. I hope everything's going to be fine.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Please introduce yourself.
Yes,
Вас зовут?
I'm Andrei Maximov. I represent Civic Chamber of Russian Federation. It's a union of non-government organization in Russian Federation. It's special board like Economic and Social Council in Russia. We have the second observer mission in Cambodia from Russian Federation. The first mission was in 1918. 2018, and now it's the second. Мы приехали для наблюдения на выборах позавчера. К сожалению, мы не смогли наблюдать за всем избирательным процессом на стадии выдвижения кандидатов, на стадии, соответственно, ведения предвыборной агитации. Но мы видим, что в выборах принимает участие 18 политических партий. Достаточно четко соблюдался день тишины, то есть мы не видели нарушений предвыборной агитации, которые были вчера.
We came only 2 days ago, and we are a short-term mission. That's why we cannot judge the whole process, starting from the candidate nomination, voter registration that took place months before that. Still, they observed the silence day enforced strictly by the government, and the political parties adhered to the national regulations. And so far, we have not seen or confirmed any transgressions, but it's just the beginning of election day, so we have to see further during the day. And of course, the post-electoral phase is very important for us to observe.
Мы, конечно же, с глубоким уважением относимся к истории, к культуре Камбоджи и к тем традициям, в том числе, которые сложились за последние десятилетия здесь в части голосования, проведения выборов.
So, of course, we have deep respect to the history of Cambodian people, culture, and the traditions, also political ones, that have been generated or just occurred, just produced by the society in the last decades. And of course, the democratic setup built here in the last decades. We also we understand how it's undergoing its transformation from the civil war phase to the establishment of a stable liberal democratic regime.
Мы видим, что здесь за последние 30 лет сложилась стабильная политическая система. Каждые 5 лет проводятся выборы с достаточно активным представительством самых разных политических сил. И хотя мы не можем давать политических оценок тому, что происходит здесь, мы будем скрупулезно и четко следить за соблюдением процедуры голосования на протяжении того периода, что мы находимся, в частности, сегодня с 7 утра и до окончания подсчета голосов.
So we have seen the period of political stability in the last 30 years after the Civil War, and definitely as a civil society organization, after all, they're a civil society organization, they are not about politics, they are more about electoral technologies and electoral solutions applied by the responsible state agencies like the National Election Committee. And basically, we are to observe how transparent and how technically accurate the voting process will occur on election day, which means how the ballots cast, how being ballot count, and of course the tabulation of results after the election day is over. And definitely we will comment on that later on, of course, on 24th on the press conference.
Мы видим, что для избирателей представлена на избирательном участке достаточно большая удобная система информирования о том, как голосовать. Это удобные схемы, фотографии, открыто представлен список избирателей. И есть даже некоторые моменты, которые мы бы отметили, неиспользуемы в других странах. Например, мы впервые видим о том, что есть специальный сервис для слабовидящих граждан, которые могут ознакомиться с избирательным бюллетенем с помощью шрифта Брайля. Это очень интересно, и мы надеемся, что вот такого рода практика, она не только активно используется на разных избирательных участках, на всех избирательных участках Камбоджи, но и найдет какое-то применение, может быть, и в других странах.
So basically we can notice that there are many schematics and information for the voters to understand how to proceed with the voting day, basically how to cast ballots, how to register at the desk and so forth. Which is very convenient, and most importantly, we have noticed very innovative, we would say, practice, such as using the Braille fonts for the blind people. We have never seen anything like that in any other countries, and we've been to more than 15 countries so far. And we actually consider this useful practice not only to be implemented here on election day, but also finding its place in everyday life for the people with disabilities.
Thank you very much, Chairman. Enjoy the next couple of days. Yes, thank you very much. Okay, good one. Thanks for your time.
Have a nice day.
So right now on the scene, we have another interview with a Cambodian voter. We will head over to her now.
អាយុប្រហែលទេតែ50ជាងតាំង93មកអូនចាច្រើនដងចា ចា
មីងតែតែមកជាប់រហូត
ជាប់រហូត
ដោយយល់មិនដែរចំពោះការបោះឆ្នោតជាអ្វីដែលមិនបានមីងអាយុ50ជាងហើយនៅតែចង់មកបោះឆ្នោត
ចង់មកថា
អានេះជាសិទ្ធិរបស់យើង
ចាជាសិទ្ធិរបស់យើងដើម្បីពេញតាប់កិច្ចជាពលរដ្ឋអញ្ចឹងហូនចា
មីងមានកូនប៉ុន្មានក
ូន
កូន
3
3ទៅគ្រប់អាយុបោះឆ្នោត
អត់ទេ
អត់នឹកមិនវិញ
ចាអាណត្តិក្រោយប្រហែលជាដល់មួយហើយមួយទៀតទៅជប៉ុនអត់បានបោះ
ទៅទៅបោះហើយមានអារម្មណ៍មិនដែរមីង
មានអារម្មណ៍សប្បាយរីករាយចា
បានសប្បាយ
ចា
អត់អីបានយើងសប្បាយរីករាយ
បាយនេះទេសារយើងបានពេញតួនាទីជាពលរដ្ឋចាចាចាចាចា
ទៅសួរអ៊ំឈ្មោះអីដែរអ៊ំ
ខ្ញុំជួស្វាយសេរី
អាយុប៉ុន្មាន
72
72ឆ្នាំ
បាទ
នៅតែកម្លាំងនៅងំស
បាទបាទបាទ
អ៊ំទៅតែបោះឆ្នោតហើយហើយមានអារម្មណ៍មិនដែរ
ខ្ញុំនៅពេលមកបោះឆ្នោតគឺមានអារម្មណ៍សប្បាយណាបាទ
អត់អីបានយើងសប្បាយ
បាទសប្បាយដោយថាខ្ញុំរើសអ្នកដឹកនាំដែលត្រឹមត្រូវដើម្បីរកសន្តិភាពធ្វើការអភិវឌ្ឍបាទ
អ៊ំបោះឆ្នោតតាំងពី93មក
បាទនឹងកាយបាយ
អត់ដែរខាង
អត់ដែរខាននេះបាទ
យល់មិនដែរចំពោះសិទ្ធិបោះឆ្នោតរបស់យើង
ការយល់ឃើញបងការបោះឆ្នោតរបស់ខ្ញុំគឺមានឃើញថាណាឆន្ទៈរបស់ខ្ញុំគឺដើម្បីជួយប្រទេសជាតិឲ្យបានរីកចម្រើនហើយបោះឆ្នោតឲ្យអ្នកដឹកនាំគឺដូចបោះឆ្នោតឲ្យខ្លួនឯងដែរដើម្បីបានខ្លួនឯងបានសុខសប្បាយបានបាទ
គឺសុខសប្បាយមករហូត
បាទ
តមកបោះឆ្នោត
បាទ
មានខ្លះគេប្រឆាំងការបោះឆ្នោតអីដល់អ៊ំយល់មិនដែរ
នៃការវិឆាំងគឺសម្រាប់ខ្លួនឯងព្រោះអត់បានជួយប្រទេសជាតិទេគឺធ្វើឲ្យប្រទេសជាតិរីកចម្រើនទៅវិញបាទ
ខឈ្មោះនិងទូនាទីបង
បាទខ្ញុំបាទឈ្មោះផាន់រតិពលជាប្រធានគណៈកម្មការរៀបចំការបោះឆ្នោតខេត្តកណ្ដាល បាទគិតមកដល់ត្រឹមម៉ោងនេះគឺដំណើរការប្រតិនៃការបោះឆ្នោតបាទសម្រាប់មណ្ឌលបោះឆ្នោតខេត្តកណ្ដាលប្រព្រឹត្តទៅដោយរលូនបាទគ្រប់បាទមានប្រជាពលរដ្ឋជួយមកបោះឆ្នោតយ៉ាងច្រើនកករៀងបាទសម្រាប់បញ្ហាសន្តិសុខចរាចរណ៍គឺប្រព្រឹត្តទៅដោយរលូនគ្មានបញ្ហាអ្វីព្រោះគាត់សម្គាល់ហើយបាទបាទអរគុណបាទសូមជម្រាបថាមន្ត្រីបម្រើឲ្យការបោះឆ្នោតនៅថ្ងៃនេះគឺរដ្ឋមន្ត្រីការបោះឆ្នោតបាទគាត់ត្រូវក្រោកតាំងពីម៉ោង 4 បាទមករៀបចំទីកន្លែងនិងម៉ោង 5 ទៅទទួលយកបាទសម្ភារៈសំខាន់3មុខគឺមានស្លឹកត្នោតបាទមានត្រាសម្ងាត់និងទឹកខ្មៅលោកលានមិនជ្រះពីគណៈកម្មការគុំសង្កាត់រៀបចំការបោះឆ្នោតរបស់គាត់បាទអញ្ចឹងនៅពេលដែលគាត់យកមកបានហើយយ៉ាងយូរត្រឹមម៉ោង 5 កន្លះគាត់មកដល់ទីតាំងការបោះឆ្នោតរបស់គាត់តែម្ដងដើម្បីរៀបចំនីតិវិធីទៅតាមនីតិវិធីណាបាទជាបន្តទៅតាមបាទជានីតិវិធីនៃការបោះឆ្នោតបាទប្រព្រឹត្តទៅដោយរលូនបាទយើងមកដល់មានតំណាងគណៈបញ្ញោបាយអង្គការអ្នកសង្កេតការណ៍ផ្សេងគាត់តាមមើលដំណើរការនៃការប្រព្រឹត្តនៃការបោះឆ្នោតរបស់យើងតាំងពីការបង្ហាញសិលឹកឆ្នោតបង្ហាញហັບឆ្នោតណាបាទគ្រប់ត្រាសម្ងាត់បង្ហាញដល់អ្នកគណៈបញ្ញោបាយទាំងអស់ឲ្យសង្កេតឃើញឲ្យសង្កេតមើលព្រមទាំងអ្នកសារព័ត៌មានបាទថតរាល់គ្រប់រូបភាពដែលយើងបានបង្ហាញដែរបាទការិយាល័យយើងចាប់ផ្ដើមបើកដំណើរការបោះឆ្នោតគឺម៉ោង 7 ព្រឹកបិទម៉ោង 3 រសៀលបាទបើមានប្រជាពលរដ្ឋមកបន្តនៅក្នុងបរិវេណមណ្ឌលបោះឆ្នោតការិយាល័យបោះឆ្នោតនេះគឺបើដល់ម៉ោង 3 ហើយនៅមានបោះឆ្នោតគឺគណៈកម្មការការិយាល័យបោះឆ្នោតលោកប្រមូលអត្តសញ្ញាណប័ណ្ណប្រជាពលរដ្ឋនោះពីក្រោយមកមុនបាទមកមុនអញ្ចឹងគាត់នៅតែបន្តរហូតទៅដល់អស់ពិតមែនតែយើងបិទមែនប៉ុន្តែអ្នកមកក្រោយម៉ោង 3 យើងអត់ចូលជួរទេបាទអត់ចូលជួរទេទៀតអញ្ចឹងតែអ្នកនៅក្នុងម៉ោង 3 ក្នុងជួរហ្នឹងគឺគាត់អាចបោះឆ្នោតបានពិតមែនតែម៉ោង 3 ក៏ដោយបាទតែផុតម៉ោង 3 អ្នកមករត់ផ្សេងមកចូលគឺមិនអនុញ្ញាតឲ្យចូលទេព្រោះគាត់នៅក្នុងមណ្ឌលនៅក្នុងស្ថានីយ៍បោះឆ្នោតមុខការិយាល័យបោះឆ្នោតដែរបាទបរិវេណខាងក្នុងនៃការបោះនៅការិយាល័យបោះឆ្នោតដែរអញ្ចឹងគាត់អាចចូលបោះឆ្នោតបានបាទបាទនីតិវិធីនៃការរាប់ស្លឹកឆ្នោតនៅពេលដល់ម៉ោង 3 យើងចប់នៃការបោះអញ្ចឹងយើងចាប់ផ្ដើមបំពេញទម្រង់បែបបទផ្សេងៗទីមួយយើងបំពេញទម្រង់បែបបទ1101ទៅលើការបោះសិនបាទអនុវត្តនីតិវិធីនៃការបោះនឹងហើយបំពេញទម្រង់នឹងហើយយើងចាប់ផ្ដើមបាទបំពេញទម្រង់បាទយើងចាប់ផ្ដើមបិទកេះនៅចេះហັບឆ្នោតនេះយើងបិទខ្សែលេខ្សែអីត្រឹមត្រូវឲ្យហើយយើងមករៀបចំបាទទម្រង់ឲ្យរៀបចំបិទ បានសម្គាល់ថាសិលឹកឆ្នោតមិនបានការណានៅហ្នឹងហើយនឹងបាទគេហៅគម្រោង1008ហើយនឹងกระดาษទាំងឆាតធំដើម្បីគូសម្លេងឆ្នោតហ្នឹងណាហើយយើងរៀបតុបទៅតាមប្លង់នៃបាទការឡៃរាប់សិលឹកឆ្នោតបាទណាអញ្ចឹងប្លង់វាគឺខុសគ្នាណាខ្ញុំខុសគ្នាអញ្ចឹងរៀបតាមប្លង់ហើយបើយើងបាទលើកយកកេះហឹបរបស់ហឹបឆ្នោតហ្នឹងមកដាក់មុខគណៈបកនយោបាយនេះអញ្ចឹងជាដើមបាទកាត់សោឃ្លុំណាបាទកាត់សោឃ្លុំកាត់អីហើយបានយើងចាក់បាទសិលឹកឆ្នោតណាចាក់ហ្នឹងក្រោយពីយើងទៀងទាត់ចំនួនអីជាមួយនឹងមកបោះជាមួយសិលឹកឆ្នោតហ្នឹងត្រឹមត្រូវហើយបាទអញ្ចឹងយើងចាក់ហើយគឺគំនុកមកគំនុកហ្នឹង25កាប់សិលឹកឆ្នោតហ្នឹងកាប់អញ្ចឹងណាទៀតបាទកាប់បាទហើយពីមើលតើនៅក្នុងហ្នឹងមានសិលឹកឆ្នោតបានសិលឹកអ្វីក្រៅពីសិលឹកឆ្នោតអត់ណាឧទាហរណ៍ថាกระดาษសឬស្អីឧបករណ៍អីផ្សេងដែលថានេះគឺយើងយកចេញណាយើងយកចេញអញ្ចឹងយើងគ្រប់មនុស្ស25យ៉ាងដែរណាអញ្ចឹងយើងបានចាប់តាមហៅមកប្រធានការិយាល័យក៏ចាប់តាមមើលហើយបាទប្រកាសសម្លេងវ៉ាន់ត្រហើយគណៈបកកបាទគាត់បង្ហាញអញ្ចឹងយើងមានមន្ត្រីដែលនៅទូដាក់ធំណាគាត់គូសម្លេងគណៈបកកមួយសម្លេងបាទអាអ្នកមួយទៀតគម្រោងគូដែរអនុប្រធានគូការ1008នេះគូដែរបាទលេខាអញ្ចឹងគូបាទអញ្ចឹងគូដូចយើងលេខបាល់អញ្ចឹងគូក្រអញ្ចឹងណាបាទអញ្ចឹងយើងអនុវត្តវិធីនោះរហូតទៅដល់ចប់ដំណើរការគ្រប់សិលឹកឆ្នោតដែលមាននៅក្នុងហັບទាំងអស់ហ្នឹងណាបាទសំខាន់គណៈបកនយោបាយបាទគាត់នៅហ្នឹងគាត់មើលអញ្ចឹងទៅបាទគាត់អាចបើសិនគាត់សង្កេតឃើញមានសកម្មការប្រកាសរបស់ផ្ដល់សុពលភាពឬសិលឹកឆ្នោតដោយវិធានការអាឡ័យនឹងមិនត្រឹមត្រូវគាត់អាចតវ៉ាណាអាចតវ៉ាអញ្ចឹងបើសិនជាគាត់តវ៉ាសិលឹកឆ្នោតណាមួយដែលយើងប្រធានគិតមើលថាវាមិនច្បាស់គាត់ទុកមួយឡែកសិនគាត់បន្តនីតិវិធីនឹងទៀតរហូតដល់ចប់ហើយចាំមើលអាបនុកសិលឹកឆ្នោតដែលយើងមានការសង្ស័យហ្នឹងបានចាប់ដើមមើលហើយចាប់ដើមមើលបាទតែពេលលោកបើកយើងបើកអាចមើលបានអាចមើលបានបាទអាចស្កេនមើលបានបាទជាចំហអត់អីទេព្រោះវាលេងសម្ងាត់ហើយពេលហ្នឹងណាបាទលេងសម្ងាត់ហើយអញ្ចឹងហ៎បាទអញ្ចឹងមានអ្នកក៏អាចមើលបានទៅមើលបានបាទតែចងាយទៅវាអាចទៅសំរុំតែរាល់សកម្មភាពអ្នកសារព័ត៌មានណាកុំឲ្យរំខានដល់ដំណើរការរាប់សិលឹកឆ្នោតរបស់មន្ត្រីការឡៃហ្នឹងណាបាទឆ្លងតាមរយៈពេលប្រហែលនេះបាទយើងមកដល់ពេលនេះគឺយើងតាមរបាយការណ៍បណ្ដាក្រុមស្រុកទាំងអស់ក្នុងខេត្តកណ្ដាលគឺដំណើរការប្រព្រឹត្តទៅដោយរលូនបាទប្រជាពលរដ្ឋទៅបោះឆ្នោតយ៉ាងច្រើនកកអញ្ចឹងអត់មានបញ្ហាអ្វីដែលគួរឲ្យកត់ស្គាល់ទេបញ្ហាសន្តិសុខយើងមានភ្នាក់ងារសន្តិសុខនៅក្នុងការិយាល័យនៅបាទក្នុងការិយាល័យនៅការិយាល័យបាទនឹងក្រៅការិយាល័យមានគ្រប់គ្រាន់បាទអញ្ចឹងបញ្ហាសន្តិសុខសម្រាប់ធ្នាប់ប្រព្រឹត្តទៅដោយរលូនប្រជាពលរដ្ឋពេញចិត្តអញ្ជើញមកបោះឆ្នោតបាទគ្រប់គ្នាបាទរលូនបាទ
Watching EAC News, thank you for joining us. Today, July 23rd, 2023, is the 7th National Assembly election for Cambodia. It's the 7th since Cambodia started multi-party voting in 1993. On the scene in Takmau, we have news reporter Anthony Ellis on the scene, who's been speaking to observers and just saw the Prime Minister vote himself. Good morning, Anthony.
Christian, you're correct. The Prime Minister just left after voting and also got a chance to speak to a couple of observers. As you can see behind me now, people are starting to line up and come to do the voting.
Very good. So can you tell us a bit about where you are?
Yeah, we're in the hometown of, where the Prime Minister lives now so at the primary school of Bunrami Hun Sen Primary School in Takmau in Kandal Province, where the Prime Minister is residing with the First Lady, which is, it's not that far from Phnom Penh city.
Okay. And so we've been watching footage of one of the rooms at the polling station there. Seems to be moving pretty quickly and efficiently. Have you noticed the same?
Yeah, it's running pretty smoothly. They were prepared early this morning. We arrived here at 5:30. Everything was already. The security was around, keeping an eye on the polling booth and the ballot papers. And then at just after 6 o'clock this morning, the observers started arriving to observe where they checked the ballot box, they checked the seals, they checked around, spoke to a few people around in the area and make sure there was nothing that seemed to be out of order. And they were happy. For the observers that we did speak to, were happy the way things were handled, the way the ballot paper seals were, everything was still there, the box was still, and the reaction of the people that started lining up early this morning.
All right. So we've noticed a lot of citizens voting. We've got a lot of national and international observers there. I know that the government had deployed a lot of police force to maintain order today. Have you noticed a lot of that around?
Nothing out of the ordinary. I mean, of course, this is where the Prime Minister votes, so there was a little bit of more security than normal polling booths, I suppose, but nothing that you wouldn't see at anywhere else, even back home in Australia, where the Prime Minister of Australia does vote. Obviously, there's going to be a bit higher security, but wasn't as visual that you're thinking, wow, there's too many here. It was just almost like a normal visit from the Prime Minister.
Right. So we did just see him and First Lady Bunrani cast their votes. Did you notice a shift in energy when he showed up?
Of course, when he arrived, people got excited. The camera crew and the media, of course, swamped him and had a chance. Actually, I got a chance to shake hand and get a selfie with the Prime Minister. So my first selfie with the Prime Minister. So the vibe was upbeat. Everyone was excited to see him. And of course, one of the observers actually asked him as a joke when he shook his hand, who did you vote for? And the Prime Minister had a bit of a laugh and a giggle, and that was it.
Very good. So I noticed he did dip his finger in the indelible ink. The government has ordered 52,000 bottles of that ink. Are people very proud to show off their index fingers today?
Well, you can see there's a little bit left on my fingertip now. So that was done 3 weeks ago. I'm proud to have it on my finger. Yeah, people are coming out of the polling booths holding their finger up, big smiles on the face, just to say, yeah, I've voted, and they're happy.
Very good. So who all have you spoken with this morning in terms of observers? Are they from all around the world?
Yeah, there've been international guests from around the world. We've interviewed the Prime Minister of Guinea-Bissau, Prime Minister Nabim. We also interviewed a delegate who's part of the Senate of Pakistan, and also an international observer who was part of Russia. So we've had the three kind of different varieties and parts of the world observers that we've had a chance to talk. And of course, they've moved on to other parts, other polling booths, just to see what's happening around other polling booths, make sure they're not having any troubles and anything else.
Very good. And what are they looking out for, the observers? What is kind of their duty while they're here?
Well, basically, they're looking around the area to make sure there's no one who's trying to entice the local people not to vote or to vote wrong. Then they come inside to the polling station to check the seals, make sure they're sealed, make sure where the people vote is all in order. And, of course, the ballot box, where everyone puts their ballot is all sealed, make sure there's no problems, check the ink, and just basically have a look around with the people that are waiting to go and vote, make sure they're happy, make sure there is no one doing the wrong thing. So they're scanning around and making sure roughly what people are doing, what they're saying. And of course, one of the biggest things they look at is body language, because body language tells us everything. And the body language with everyone here is relaxed. They're happy, the Khmers are waiting to vote, chatting, they're talking about whatever they talk about, maybe who they're voting for or party, or how it's been such organised. The international observers are very impressed the way the flow have gone through and the way everyone is presenting themselves here and the way everything's done. Definitely no problems, and following the laws of the NSC.
Very good. Now back home, Anthony, we do have a lot of restrictions around campaign posters and kind of promoting your party at the polling station. Have you noticed any campaigning going on around the polling station?
I think this is probably one of the best things I do love about voting here in Cambodia. Back at home, when you go and vote, you just have all that propaganda and leaflets, everyone trying to tell you how to vote, giving you these leaflets, this is who you vote for and everything else. Cambodia has none of that. When you come to the polling booths, you just go straight up to the polling booth and you go and vote. You don't need to listen to people trying to entice you to vote for anyone else, giving you a waste of money of pamphlets on this is who you need to vote for, this is the government you need to vote for. You come in, you vote. So compared to back at home in Australia, there is no one outside the gates giving out any propaganda rubbish as in voting, how to vote, who to vote. You come in and you can vote who you want and you feel safe and happy.
Very good. Now, we know that Cambodians take their right to vote very seriously, as it's something that they've only recently gained in the last 30 plus years. Have you noticed, is there kind of more of a formal atmosphere in terms of how people are acting, how people are dressing?
Nothing at all. They're just coming down like it's an everyday. They dress how they feel. They've got the kids with them. There's older people. There's no demographic of age limit here. We've got grandmas coming with their grandchildren, just dressed in everyday clothes. It's just like they're doing everything else, taking a bit of time off work, taking a bit of time off their business, leaving home, come and vote, and they'll continue on with their day. At the front of the school here, we have a river. And we've got people doing their aerobics or Tai Chi, and they're running up and down along Riverside. It's just like any other day. So it's just a casual day for the local people.
Okay, good. Now, I know on this side of Phnom Penh this morning it was raining. Have you had any issues there?
This morning when we first got here, I think we had a bit of shower. Only lasted about 5 minutes, but the sun's out now. There's a few clouds, so it's getting a bit hot now. But otherwise, no, it was a 5-minute shower, and which there were people lining up, and it didn't discourage them. But not like on Friday of the last day of the campaign where we got drenched, we got soaked, and but which still didn't discourage anyone to be in those streets. It brings back a memory. It's fantastic that all these people were marching through the streets in the rain, and particularly Street 169, were people lining up in front of Tulkok High School, and all the apartments up there, people coming out their balconies just to have a look and wave with their Cambodian flags and their CPP flags. It was just like a Mardi Gras, but it was just a campaign of a rally.
Very good. Yes, we have seen that weather is not a deterrent for many Cambodians when they're out to have a good time or fulfill their civic duty.
I think, as you know, living here in Cambodia, even in the rainy season, Cambodians can enjoy and dance in the rain. Weather doesn't mean anything to them. It's just part of their everyday life. If it's raining, you'll see the kids playing out in the rain, dancing, even adults. They're still selling their food. The sellers are out there. Business is still going. Not like back at home. As soon as it's got a bit of rain, everyone runs for shelter and hides. Cambodian day-to-day life is that they'll continue on and they'll take it on. I've walked in the streets with floods up to my knees, and there's still people having a good time and doing their selling. So I don't think rain here plays any particular part in anything they do here in Cambodia. It's part of their life, and they take it on, enjoy it like if it's every day.
Yes, that is something we love about the Cambodian people here. All right,
Yeah.
Anthony. Well, thank you so much. I assume you're going to be staying down at Takmau, seeing if you can talk to more people.
Well, I think we're going to move on so we maybe get a chance to speak to more observers. It's just the local people coming to vote now, which the rest of the crew will get a chance to do a bit of interview. I think Sway Watt, our Cambodian news reporter, correspondent, has already done some interviews with some local people, which I think he'll continue on, and then we'll probably move on to see what's happening in other polling booths. So we'll look forward to speaking to you soon, Kristen.
Very good. Thank you so much, Anthony. In fact, we've had EAC News reporter Anthony Ellis on the scene, who has talked to some of the international observers, gotten their opinions, and they see things running very smoothly. They have not reported any incidents, and they noted that people seem to be happy to vote today. The NEC made an appeal on Friday for all citizens, politicians, and media outlets to maintain order during the election weekend. In that spirit, the sale and consumption of alcohol has been banned until tomorrow in an effort to prevent accidents and loss of public order. So right now on the scene, we've got EAC News reporter Anthony Ellis. Good morning, Anthony.
Good morning, Christian. Good morning, Christian. Sorry.
Good morning, Anthony.
We're at the here school at the Bunrami Hun Sen Primary School here in Taka. Things we're wrapping up now. The Prime Minister's already come to vote. So all that's happening now is just the local people coming to the polling booth station just to cast their votes. So it's seemed to quieten down a little bit. As you can see behind me now, people are still lining up. There's still people coming around to come and vote.
Very good. So is everybody just calm? Are there lines, or is it pretty minimal?
It's pretty minimal now. It's just a steady flow of people coming. They have until 3 p.m. this afternoon to vote. So people are just starting to stroll in and just casually walk in. We've got a good range of age groups here. I've seen a few people look like they're just 18, so this is their first time of voting, and we're just having a quick chat with them. They're excited to be able to vote for the first time, and they're happy to go through the process of voting.
Very good.
So, as we've already spoken, we've already interviewed some international observers.
Yes, so I saw you interviewed people from Russia, people from Pakistan, and the Prime Minister of Guinea-Bissau. How did the Prime Minister feel about today's elections?
He was happy with today. He was impressed the way things were going, from what he saw. There was a lot of attention from media on the Prime Minister, and we were lucky enough to get an interview with him. And he was impressed the way things were done, and everything seems to be going according to the law. The security tags in the right places, everything else was soon to be put in place, and how freely things were. The way people were able to go and vote, there was not a large amount of people gathering. Everyone were lining up quite ordinary and just seemed very casual. The same thing come from the Senate of the Pakistani government. He also said that he was impressed the way things have changed here. Also, the Russian delegate who was here in 2018, I think he said, and the three of them expressed how much democracy has changed here in Cambodia from where they've gone 30 odd years ago, which was unsettled. It was wasn't sure which way things were going. I mean, it was only just nearly 50 years ago the Pol Pot regime that ruled the country where people were too scared to do anything. Now it's you can see the democracy of the people are just happy to vote. There's no force. They're happy to be here. They're happy to put their finger into the ink, to place that tick or the cross on that ballot paper to vote for whoever they wanted, whomever they want to win for the government, and to continue moving Cambodia forward as the way the country is going.
Very good. Now, I did notice when the Prime Minister was there about half an hour ago, there's a lot of media partners there. Is there still a lot of media around?
A lot of media are packed up and they're moving on. The same as what we'll do, they'll go to other polling booths to have a look. And, of course, get ready for 3 o'clock when the polling booths actually officially close and the counting begins. We'll be out later on this afternoon at polling booths to see how things and the way they are counting to make sure everything's fine.
Good. Thank you so much, Anthony. So Prime Minister Hun Sen has met with many of the international observers for this election, who we continue to see at the polling stations, and hopefully we'll be able to speak more with this afternoon. So stay tuned. You're watching EAC News.
Today, more than 400 buses are scheduled to transport citizens to the provinces for free so they can go to the polls on Sunday. Early in the morning at designated bus stops in Phnom Penh, many people rushed to take the free buses organised by the royal government. Most of them had arrived at 4:30 a.m, while buses were scheduled to leave at 5:30 a.m.
Most of them had arrived by 4:30 a.m., while buses were scheduled to leave at 5:30 a.m. EAC reporters were on the scene at the bus stop at Rosikio Park this morning. They found many people waiting for the bus, with the majority going to Battambang, Pursat, Prey Veng, and Svay provinces. Riek Vitsan, an information technology student at the C-Tech Institute, said that he was pleased that the royal government was providing free buses for people to travel home to vote safely. Chomsre Niet, a student at Asia Europe University who had already taken her seat in the bus, felt that it was safe to take the public bus, as the driver obeyed traffic laws and the atmosphere in the bus was cool and not crowded. Another citizen who was heading to the polls in Battambang province had been waiting for the bus since 4:30 a.m., but wasn't able to board the bus until 7:30 a.m. Sre Niet said she was happy that the royal government was always concerned about the well-being of the people. She said that when there was no public bus, she and her family had to spend 100,000 riel each way. She would like to thank the government, who continues to provide buses to transport people free of charge, and to provide buses to make it easier for people who cannot necessarily afford it. Bus driver Sun Hang was transporting people to Prey Veng province. He has been working for the Phnom Penh Capital Administration for almost 10 years and observed that this morning many people came to use public transportation to get home to vote. He said that although he would be busy transporting people to the province, he would not forget to go to the polls, which he will do in Phnom Penh after his shift. Both citizens and drivers thank the royal government for providing free buses to the provinces for major festivals, especially for the upcoming 7th National Assembly election on Sunday. Phnom Penh Governor Khon Sreng confirmed to reporters that according to the royal government's guidelines, the Phnom Penh Capital Administration had ordered 350 buses to transport people to the provinces, but the Phnom Penh Capital Administration had provided an additional 50 buses. Governor Khon Sreng said that the buses arranged to transport citizens and workers to vote in the provinces have between 20, 30, and 45 seats. He confirmed that they are all buses from Korea, China, and Japan that support the government of Cambodia to facilitate free transportation of citizens. Some of the buses were rented from private companies to meet the needs of the people. The Phnom Penh governor said that the royal government's commitment to providing free transportation for the election keeps people happy and shows the high level of care for the Prime Minister has for his people. He emphasized that the gesture will help by reducing the financial burden on those who need to travel home to vote. Kristen Winters, EAC News. You're watching EAC News. Thank you for joining us. The royal government issued instructions on the suspension of the sale and consumption of alcohol for the day before and the day of this Sunday's election. The government bans the sale and consumption of alcohol every election in accordance with the laws, regulations, and procedures for Cambodia's national elections. The alcohol ban is intended to ensure a free, fair, and just election with no violence, threats, or intimidation as a result of alcohol. The government noted that the consumption of alcohol can cause violence, traffic accidents, social embarrassment, crimes, and in some cases, a loss of public order. The decree stated, quote, "All Cambodian citizens, foreigners, businessmen, and traders living in the Kingdom of Cambodia must cooperate with the royal government, the armed forces of all kinds, regional administrations, and the National Election Committee by suspending the sale and consumption of alcohol one day before Election Day and Election Day, July 22nd and 23rd, 2023, end quote. Cambodia is holding its 7th National Assembly election this Sunday, where millions of Cambodian voters will head to their home precincts to vote for a political party that will then appoint seats to the National Assembly. Kristen Winters, EAC News. You're watching EAC News. Thank you for joining us. General Hun Manet and his wife Pik Chun Moni led the final parade of the Cambodian People's Party election campaign on the final day of campaign season this morning. The rally started in Koh Pik, then meandered through the streets of Phnom Penh, where the CPP chair and his wife exchanged smiles, flowers, and party chants among thousands of supporters. The march through town encountered some light rain, but that did not stop a sea of supporters dressed in powder blue and white from marching, riding mopeds, and lining the streets to catch a glimpse of the party leaders. The procession had a party atmosphere with music and chants being blasted from speakers and participating school bands. CPP members danced on the streets while the party's policies were highlighted through megaphones. Speaking at the close of the rally, General Hun Manet noted that the election campaign was conducted responsibly and strictly in accordance with the rules and procedures of Cambodian law. He was happy with supporter turnout and their warm welcoming that he said was worthy of a politically mature party. Over the next 2 days, registered voters will return to their home precincts to vote on Sunday for one of 18 parties on this year's ballot. Currently, the CPP holds all 125 seats in the National Assembly, in addition to all 58 seats in the country's Senate. Kristen Winters, EAC News. You're watching EAC News. Thank you for joining us. During his visit to observe Cambodia's upcoming election, the Speaker of Malaysian Parliament, Tan Sri Dato Johari bin Abdul, met with Prime Minister Hun Sen this morning. During their meeting, he expressed his admiration of Phnom Penh's rapid development and of the Prime Minister's leadership skills. The Speaker of the Malaysian Parliament said that he could hardly believe how Phnom Penh had grown, with so many high-rise buildings and a maze of paved roads. He recalled a trip he made to Kampong Cham province in 2000, where the roads were so bumpy that he likened his experience to a boat trip on the sea. He said that he had read many books on the history of Prime Minister Hun Sen, and that he now understands his struggles in going through hardships like family separation to liberate the country from the Khmer Rouge regime. He admired the Prime Minister's ability to lead the country towards progress and national unity that he said leaders of ASEAN countries should learn from and follow. Prime Minister Hun Sen expressed his gratitude for the kind words and admiration, and added that he had worked very hard despite his painful history and gradually built the country from scratch, starting at the end of the war. He said that Cambodia had experienced a golden opportunity over the last 24 years to unite as a single territory without discrimination on the basis of race or religion. He praised the kingdom's freedom, democracy, and economic growth as well. The Prime Minister continued by crediting the leadership of the Cambodian People's Party, or CPP, for maintaining harmony amongst all religions. He noted that Muslims have the right to freedom, progress, and non-discrimination, and play important roles in national and regional institutions. Prime Minister Hun Sen said that the bilateral relations between Cambodia and Malaysia have undergone a series of changes towards progress in all fields, especially trade. He recalled their most recent exchange when Malaysian Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim came to Cambodia earlier this year to further strengthen and expand ties between the two countries. The Prime Minister and Speaker of the National Assembly of Malaysia agreed to further strengthen and expand the ASEAN framework, in which the two countries need to assist each other, especially in regards to climate change and food security, by increasing connectivity between countries in renewable energy and food production in the region. Kristen Winters, EAC News. You're watching EAC News. Thank you for joining us. Cambodian King Norodom Sihamoni and Chinese President Xi Jinping exchanged pleasantries on the occasion of the 65th anniversary of the establishment of diplomatic relations between the two countries. Both leaders praised each other's commitment to an ever-strengthening bond between the two countries as Cambodia continues to develop economically. In a letter addressed to China's president on July 12th, the king lauded the long-standing friendship, which began under his father's reign, when King Norodom Sihanouk developed close ties with Mao Zedong, of whom he was a big fan. Later generations maintained this bond, becoming comprehensive strategic partners in cooperation in 2010 and a community with a shared future in 2019. The king acknowledged the achievements made in Cambodia as a result of their, quote, diamond cooperation, which has seen exponential growth in the kingdom as a result of Chinese investment, especially in the development of China's, quote, Belt and Road Initiative, which develops infrastructure in surrounding countries. The king said he would continue to uphold the One China policy, which claims Taiwan as an inalienable part of China. In a response on July 19th, President Xi Jinping congratulated King Norodom Sihamoni on continuing his father's legacy and maintaining a strong relationship with China. He referred to their meeting earlier this year, during which he said they entered a new era of, quote, high quality, high level, and high standard in developing their shared future. He ended the letter wishing Cambodia prosperity and its people happiness. Kristen Winters, EAC News. You're watching EAC News. Thank you for joining us. Prime Minister of Guinea-Bissau, Nunu Gomez Nabiam, will be among the 333 dignitaries from 65 countries who will come to Cambodia to observe the National Assembly election to be held this Sunday. EAC News reporter Anthony Ellis has more.
According to the press release issued by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation yesterday, Prime Minister Nuno Gomes Nabim will pay a state visit to Cambodia from July 21 to July 24 at the invitation of the Prime Minister Hun Sen. During his visit, the Guinea-Bissau Prime Minister will personally observe the election and exchange expertise on the election process. Nuno Gomes Nabim will also make a courtesy call to the Prime Minister Hun Sen, who has invited him to a state dinner. Their meeting will provide an opportunity for the two leaders to discuss relevant topics, develop action plans for promoting mutual beneficial cooperation, and exchange views on the regional and international issues of the mutual interest of the common concern. The Guinea-Bissau Prime Minister will also meet with Deputy Prime Minister and the Minister of Interior, Saw Keng. Then the foreign dignitaries will state visit. This will be the foreign dignitary's first state visit to Cambodia since he became Prime Minister in 2020. His visit will be a notable event for strengthening relations between the two countries for the benefit of their people and their governments. In a telegram message this morning, Prime Minister Hun Sen specially thanked the Prime Minister of Guinea-Bissau in addition to Malaysia's parliamentary speaker, both who will be direct observers in the 7th National Assembly election this Sunday. Anthony Ellis, EAC News.
You're watching EAC News. Thank you for joining us. Phnom Penh Capital Administration has released the locations and departure times of 430 buses set to transport people to the provinces on Election Day for free to facilitate the travel of workers and peoples to their hometowns for the July 23rd election. EAC News reporter Anthony Ellis has the story.
The administration announced on July 19th that 430 buses are prepared as a free public transportation service and will be departing Phnom Penh on July 22nd and returning July 24th. Everyone is encouraged to ride regardless of political affiliation. Within Phnom Penh, the capital administration allotted 80 buses to transport people to the polls. For transporting workers and employees from Phnom Penh to the provinces and back, 350 buses will be used. The administration also appealed to all company owners and bus owners to keep transportation costs unchanged to facilitate easy travel for workers and citizens. On July 11th, Prime Minister Hun Sen ordered the Ministry of Labour and Phnom Penh Capital Hall to provide 300 to 353 buses to transport workers to the polls, alternative to the hardship of the workers and facilitate the election in Cambodia. Anthony Ellis, EAC News.
You're watching EAC News. Thank you for joining us. The royal government announced that Senate elections will be happening on February 25th, 2024. The fifth legislator of the Senate will be instated by votes from a commune councillors and fellow parliamentarians, all of whom currently belong to the reigning Cambodian People's Party. EAC News reporter Anthony Ellis has more.
While the upcoming National Assembly election requires the participation of ordinary citizens, Cambodia's Senate members, who have 6-year terms, are elected by the government officials. The 2024 election will see senators campaigning for 58 of the 62 seats. Meanwhile, 2 seats will be appointed by the King and 2 by the National Assembly. During the last Senate election in 2018, the CPP won 58 seats. The CPP also currently 125 national seats. Political parties Funipec, the Cambodian Youth Party, the Khmer National Unity Party also ran in the previous state election but failed to get enough votes to win any seats. Anthony Ellis, EAC News.
You're watching EAC News. Thank you for joining us. Prime Minister Hun Sen's Facebook page has been reactivated less than a month after he quit the platform in protest of the Meta Oversight Board's recommendation that his page be suspended. The move also comes just days before Sunday's election. EAC News reporter Anthony Ellis has the details.
The Prime Minister's official page, Samdech Hun Sen, Cambodian Prime Minister, was reactivated under the control of his assistant, Dong Dara, which was announced via Facebook post last night. His assistant wrote that the page will stay active for the benefit of society. He also claimed Prime Minister would not be using the page directly. I do not want to lose the important page that I have been using for 13 years, Dong Dara wrote. The page was originally a fan page for Prime Minister Hun Sen, but was eventually taken over by the Prime Minister while Dong Dara became his assistant. The Prime Minister deactivated his Facebook page, which has more than 14 million followers, on June 29 after Meta's Oversight Board had announced its recommendation to suspend the Prime Minister's account for 6 months, finding he violated Facebook's policy by inciting violence against his opponents. In response, the Prime Minister deleted his Facebook page and the Ministry of Post barred the 22 members of the Oversight Board from entering Cambodia, saying the decision was political motivated. Anthony Ellis, EAC News.
You're watching EAC News. Thank you for joining us. On the morning of July 19th, Labor Minister Ut Sam-Heng met with Roh Hyun-jun, director of the Korea International Cooperation Agency, or KOICA, in Cambodia. The two discussed the partnership between Cambodia and South Korea in the fields of technical and vocational education and training, or TVET, and information communication technology skills, also known as ICT. They also signed a 5-year cooperation plan in pursuit of developing Cambodia's technological capacity. The KOICA director reaffirmed his agency's commitment to joining Cambodia on building professional skills in the field of technology communication for Cambodian youth and to sending their experts to train Cambodians in professional development. In response, Ut Sam-Heng thanked KOICA for their cooperation and for supporting the training at TVET in terms of capacity building of civil servants, technical teachers, and students, providing Korean volunteers, and building infrastructure and training equipment for Cambodia's programs. The minister emphasized the importance of developing ICT skills in Cambodia, especially in the field of vocational training, for which the government has laid out a plan starting later this year, which will provide vocational training to 1.5 million impoverished and vulnerable youth across the country. The KOICA director thanked the Ministry of Labor and Vocational Training for its support of KOICA's mission over the last 20 years, especially its mission to contribute to human resource development in Cambodia. He stressed that South Korea's government considers Cambodia to be the second most important country in the region in terms of developing TVET skills, and that it is also committed to bringing its national skills and training experience to help train the Cambodian people and develop the national economy. Kristen Winters, EAC News. You're watching EAC News. Thank you for joining us. Minister of Posts and Telecommunications of Cambodia, Chia Van Det, has instructed the public to alert the Ministry of Posts of any failure of cell phone service so that they can take action against weak phone service providers. Through an audio message on the public official's Telegram channel yesterday, Chia Van Det said, quote, "Wherever there is no telephone service, you can complain to the ministry and the ministry will call the company, and then everyone will see it," end quote. He emphasized that the ministry had issued a declaration on the quality of mobile and internet services, giving companies 8 months to improve the quality of its telecommunication services. He said that from now on, the Ministry of Posts will fine any company that does not improve the quality of its telecommunication services. Kristen Winters, EAC News.
តើលោកអ្នកចិត្តរៀបអាពាហ៍ពិពាហ៍មែនទេហើយពិបាករកក្រុមហ៊ុនថតវីដេអូផ្សាយផ្ទាល់ដែលមានគុណភាពមែនទេអស់កង្វល់រ៉ាទីកាជាក្រុមហ៊ុនទទួលស្គាល់លំដាប់អន្តរជាតិលើសេវាកម្មថតផ្សាយផ្ទាល់គ្រប់កម្មវិធីកម្រិត 4K ដំបូងបង្អស់នៅកម្ពុជារ៉ាទីកាប្រើប្រាស់ឧបករណ៍ទំនើបម៉ាកល្បីៗធានាគុណភាព ការផលិតតាមបច្ចេកវិទ្យាទាន់សម័យរាតិកានឹងជួយធ្វើឲ្យកម្មវិធីលោកអ្នកកាន់តែមានភាពអស្ចារ្យលោកអ្នកនឹងបានឃើញរាល់សកម្មភាពក្នុងពិធីទៅលើកញ្ចក់ទូរទស្សន៍ទំហំធំកម្រិត 4K និងការបញ្ចាំងលើផ្ទាំងក្រណាត់សព្រមទាំង LED ដែលមានរូបភាពច្បាស់ត្រជាក់ភ្នែកសូមអញ្ជើញកក់ពីឥឡូវនេះតាមរយៈលេខទូរស័ព្ទ012 823 848 017 838 889និង016 823 848រាតិកាទំនុកចិត្តការទទួលខុសត្រូវនិងគុណភាពខ្ពស់